Hi guys, good evening everyone. All of you can hear my voice. Online people, could you please respond? Online people, are you able to hear my voice? Please confirm. $500 crashed. Huh? All right, very good. Hi. Good evening everyone. Today we are starting with Java collections, which is most important topic in the Java for every programmer. Without having knowledge on these collections, it is almost impossible to develop a real-time project. In every project, we are going to use this collections concept. Collections are very important. Without asking the questions on collections, your interview also will not be completed. You need to give special attention while you are listening to collections topic. Good. Sir, in these collections topic, what is our agenda? What we are going to learn as part of this collections? First, we are going to understand why we need to go for collections. As a Java programmer, what is the need of going for these collections? What is the need of learning these collections topics? And what is collection framework? Why we need to go for collections, and what is a collection framework? Then next one, collections hierarchy. So what is the hierarchy in the collections? What interfaces available? What classes available? What methods available? That complete hierarchy we need to understand. Then what is the list interface, and what are the implementations available for list interface? Then what is set interface, and what are the implementation classes for that? What is the queue interface? What are the implementations available for the queue? And what is map interface, and what are the implementations available for map? What are cursors in the collections? How many types of cursors available? Why we need to go for those cursors? And how to work with sorting of objects by using collections. Now, how to work with collections sorting? So that is the agenda of these classes. So this is not 1 day or 2 days class, it is 1 week. These classes will continue for 1 week. So next 1 week of time from today, next 1 week, we are going to understand all the topics which are related to collections. Why we need to go for collections? What is a collection framework? What is a collections hierarchy? List interface and implementations of the list interface. What is the set interface? What are the implementations of set? What is the queue interface? What are the implementations of that? What is the map interface? What are the implementations of that? What is a cursor in the collection? How many types of cursors available? How to work with them? And how to work with the collections sorting. This is our agenda. So just listen to the class. We are going to write each and everything as a live code. We will understand how to work with the collections, and we are going to understand what are the real-time use cases. There are so many collections available in the Java. When to go for which collection, in which scenario we need to use which collection, that we will discuss along with the project use cases. Good. And soft copy material will be provided in the WhatsApp group. Interview questions also will come. Okay, I will provide interview questions also. Online people, please join in this WhatsApp group so that you will get the class notes. Perfect. Let's get started. Guys, in the Java, I want to store the data in my program. We all are Java developers. We are writing some programs. In my program, I want to store some data. How we are going to store the data, guys? How we are going to store the data in the Java? In order to store the data in the Java, we have variables concept. What is the concept available? Variables. Variables to store the data. I'm not writing clear notes, guys. I'm not going to write each and everything because it is waste of time. Material is already available. We are having variables concept. What is the purpose of variables? What is the purpose of variables? Variables are used to store the data. In order to store the data into a variable, we need to go for data type. If I want to store the data into a variable, we need to go for data type. What is the purpose of data type? Type of data. Type of data that we can store in variable. If I want to store some data, then I need to go for variable concept. If I want to declare a variable, then I need a data type. Data type represents type of data that we can store in variable. Here, guys, data types are divided into two types. What are the two types of data types? One is primitive data types available, and the second one is referenced data types also available. In the Java, we have primitive data types and we have reference data types. In the primitive data types, what we have? We have byte data type, short data type, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. So like this, there are several primitive data types available: byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. Now, by using these primitive data types, we can store the data into a variable. Coming to referenced data type, what are the referenced data type? Arrays available, string available, Java class. Every Java class is called as a referenced data type. Arrays is called as referenced data type. Strings are called as referenced data type. Class is also called as a referenced data type. So data type is used to specify what type of data we can store into a variable. Variable is used to store the data. Data types are divided into two types. We have primitive data types and we have reference data types. Primitive data types are 8: byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. Like that, there are several primitive data types available. And we are having reference data types also. Arrays available, array concept is there, string concept is available, class concept is also available. Now, let's consider I want to store some value into a variable. I want to store one value to a variable. Can I declare like this? Integer a is equal to 10. Can I declare like this? Integer a is equal to 10. Yes, I have stored one value to a variable into a is equal to 10. Similarly, I want to store second value. Can I store second value? Can I store second value as into a 10 comma 20? Is it possible? Not possible. Why? It is a primitive type. How many values I can store into primitive variable? Only one value. If I want to store another value, then I need to create another variable. Into a is equal to 20, into b is equal to 20. If I want to store another value, into c is equal to 30. To store three values, I have taken three variables. To store three values, I have taken three variables. Now I want to store 1000 values. I want to store 1000 values. How many variables we need? 1000 variables we need. Suppose I want to store 1 lakh values. I want to store 1 lakh values. Then what I need to do? I need to create 1 lakh variables. Is it recommended to create 1 lakh variables in the program? Is it recommended to create 1 lakh variables in the program? Not recommended. If I want to store one value, I'm taking one variable. If I want to store second value, I'm taking second variable. If I want to store third value, I'm taking third variable. If I want to store 100 values, 100 variables. If I want to store 1000 values, I need 1000 variables. If I want to store 1 lakh values, I need to go for 1 lakh variables. So can you imagine a Java class with 1 lakh variables? Can you imagine a Java class with 1000 variables? Recommended or not recommended? A Java class with 1000 variables is not recommended. To overcome this problem, we are going for a concept called arrays concept. To overcome this problem, we are going for a concept called arrays concept. What is the purpose of going for array? What is the purpose of going for array? We can store group of values in single variable. If you go for normal primitive type, one variable can hold only one value. If I want to store 100 values, I need to take 100 variables, which is not recommended. I need one variable to store group of values. I need one variable to store group of values. If you want to store group of values into single variable, then we need to go for a concept called arrays concept. What is the advantage of going for the arrays concept? What is the advantage of going for arrays concept? Online people, Gaurav Deshmukh, please stop your video. People, please stop your cameras, guys. It is not a fashion show. To switch on your cameras, please stop. Please stop your cameras. Right. Now, we are going for arrays concept. We can store group of values in a single variable. For example, if I create integer array, integer a is equal to new integer of 5. What is the meaning of that? I created a array with a size as 5. What is the meaning of that? I can store 5 values into single variable. Array of a is equal to 100. Array of a is equal to 100, and I am going for array of 1 is equal to 200. I am going for array of 2 is equal to 300. Like this, can I store 5 values in the array? Yes. Now, am I creating 5 variables? Am I creating one variable to store 5 values? I'm creating one variable to store 5 values. If you go for normal primitive data type, in one variable, we can store only one value. If I want to store 100 values, 100 variables I need to create, it is not recommended. To overcome this problem, Java introduced a concept called arrays concept. What is an array? Array is a referenced data type which is used to store group of values in single variable. Arrays are used to store group of values in single variable. Integer a is equal to new int of 5. I created array with size 5. That means I can store 5 values into single array. If I create size with 500, if I create with 500 size, I can store 500 values. Array of 0, array of 1, array of 2. Can I create with array of 499 or 4999? 4999 is equal to some value. Can I store the value like this? So this is 4999 not possible. 499 possible. What is the last index of the array? Size minus 1. Array size is 500. Size minus 1 will be the last index. If I create array with size as 5000, I can store 5000 values starting from 0, 499 index. I can store 5,000 values into single variable. That is the concept of array. So to overcome the problems of the primitive variables, we are going for arrays concept. What is the advantage of going for array? We can store group of values in single variable. I'm creating a array with a size of 5,000. I can store 5,000 values into single variable. That is fine. But here in the array, advantages are available as well as disadvantages also available. What is the advantage with the array? What is the advantage with the array? We can store multiple values into single variable. But what is the disadvantage? What is the disadvantage here? There are some limitations available in the array. There are some limitations available in the array. The first limitation, array size is fixed. Array size is fixed. Based on my requirement, I cannot increase the size. I cannot decrease the size. If I create array with the size of 5,000, I can store only 5,000 values in the array. If I want to store 10,000 values, not possible. Can I decrease the size? No. Can I increase the size? No. Array size is fixed. This is one of the limitation with the array. And the second drawback in the array is we can store only homogeneous values. We can store only homogeneous values in the array. What is the meaning of homogeneous values? Same type of values only we can store. Here I'm creating array as an integer type. I can store only int value. I can store only int value. Can I store Boolean value in the array? Can I store decimal value? Can I store string value? Not possible. Array size is fixed and arrays can store only homogeneous values. Array size is fixed and we can store only homogeneous values in the array. Are you guys clear with my point? For example, if I am creating an array like this, student array S is equal to new student. I'm creating with 100. What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that? Can I say this is one array? Yes. Student S is equal, student array S is equal to new student of 100. I created a student array with a 100 size because in my class 100 students are available. I want to store 100 student objects into one variable. Every student nothing but one object. 100 students available in the class. 100 student objects I want to store into one variable. For that I am creating student array with the size as 100. Can I store like this? S of 0 is equal to new student with some data constructor, one student object. So this student object having one ID, having some name. One student object I have stored. Similarly, S of 1, index 1 is equal to new student of some 11. I'm storing some Rani. Like this, can I store 100 students? Yes, 99 is equal to new student. Yes, 99 is available. Some student ID is there and I'm storing some value. Is it valid? Yes, it is valid. Now, along with the students in our institute, along with the students, there are some employees also available. Can I store one employee object here? New employee, 101, some name, some Ramesh. Right. Can I store one employee object into this array? No. Why? Here, array size is fixed. We can store only homogeneous values in the array. We created student array with the size as 100. You can store 100 objects into this array. That 100 objects should be student class objects only. That 100 objects should be student class objects only. But my requirement is I want to store some student objects I want to store some employee objects also. In this array, can I store employee objects or I cannot store employee objects? I can store employee objects or I cannot store employee objects. I cannot store the employee objects. Why I cannot store the employee objects? Why I cannot store the employee objects? My array type is a student. I can store only student objects into this array. This is invalid. This is invalid. This is a student array. I can store only student objects. This is valid. This is valid. What about this? This is also valid. What about this? Invalid. What about this? It is valid. Valid, right? So here, what is the problem we are facing? What is the problem we are facing? Size is fixed and only same type of values we can store. Size is fixed and only we can store same type of values. This is approach 1, guys. This is approach 1. I want to store some data into, I want to represent some data. What is the first approach to represent the data? By using primitive data type. By using primitive data type, I can store some data into a variable. What is the problem with the first approach? What is the problem with the first approach? We can store only one value to a variable. By using this approach 1, primitive data type, we can store only one value to a variable. To overcome that problem, I'm going for second approach. What is my second approach? Arrays. What is the advantage of going with array? We can store group of values into single variable. Instead of declaring 5,000 variables, I'm taking one variable with 5,000 size. I can store 5,000 values into single variable. Advantage is available. What is the disadvantage in the second approach? Array size is fixed. We can store only homogeneous values. Based on my requirement, I cannot increase the size and I cannot decrease the size, and I cannot store any type of object. If I create a student array, I can store only student object. If I create employee array, I can store only employee object. If I create a customer array, I can create only customer object. But my requirement is, I want to store student object, I want to store employee object, I want to store customer object. To overcome this problem with the arrays, we are going for third approach, that is object array. There is a concept called object array concept is available. What is a object in the Java? What is the object in the Java? Object is a superclass. Object array A is equal to new object of 100. What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? I created one array with the data type as a object. Object is a superclass for all the classes in the Java. Object is a default superclass for all the classes in the Java. Now, when I create object array, can I take A of 0 is equal to new student 101, comma, some name as Raju. Okay, I am going to take A of 1 is equal to new student of 102, some Rani. Can I store two student objects in the array? Yes. What is the size of the array? 100. I can store 100 values into this array. Along with the student objects, can I store one employee object also? New employee of 101, comma, some Raju, employee having some salary also. Employee having some salary also. Along with this, I'm going to store A of 3. A of 3 is the index. A of 3 is equal to new employee of 102, some Rani, some salary is available as 2000. Along with the student objects, I'm able to store employee objects also. Along with the employee objects, can I store customer object also? Can I store the customer object also? Yes. homogeneous problem got resolved. Homogeneous problem got resolved. Which problem is still available? Size is fixed. To overcome this homogeneous problem, instead of creating a student array, we can create a object array. If I create the object array, what is the advantage? Object is a default superclass for all the Java classes. Object is a predefined class which is available in java.lang package. Object is a default superclass which is available in java.lang package. Superclass variable can hold subclass object. Student is a subclass for object. Employee is a subclass for object. Customer is a subclass for the object. Every Java class will act as a subclass for the object. In the Java, can a superclass variable hold subclass object? Superclass variable can hold subclass object or not? Yes, superclass variable can hold subclass object. I created object array. I'm able to store student object. I'm able to store employee object. I'm able to store customer object. But still there is a problem. What is the problem? The size is fixed. That is one problem. That is one problem. And the second problem is, when we are developing a project, we will represent the data in the form of object. In the project development, several objects will be available to represent the data. Assume that there are 100 objects are available. Assume that there are 100 objects are available. 100 employee objects are available. Now, I created object array with the size as 100. I'm able to store 100 employee objects. Now my requirement is, let's sort employee objects based on salary. Are you guys able to understand my point? I want to represent 100 employee objects. By taking object array, I'm able to represent 100 employee objects. Now, I want to sort the employees based on the salary. I want to sort the student based on the rank. I want to sort the customer based on the some name. I want to sort my customers based on the name. I want to sort the employee based on the salary. I want to insert a new employee. I want to update a employee. I want to retrieve the employee from the array. Is there any method available to insert the data, to update the data, to sort the data? No. If you represent the data in the array, you need to write your own logic to perform insertion, updation, deletion, retrieval, sorting. These are common operations in the project. I have group of objects. Objects I have represented by using a array. In the array, there are 100 employee objects available. Can you write the logic to sort the employees based on the salary? Can you write the logic to sort the students based on the ID? Can you sort the logic to sort? Can you write the logic to sort the customers based on the name? Like this, n number of requirements will be available in the project. Project to project, requirement will change. When the requirement is changed, I need to change my logic. Is it a problem or not? Yes. So there are two problems available. One is size is fixed. And the second one, for every requirement, programmer should write the logic. For every requirement, programmer should write the logic. To overcome these problems, we are going for a concept called collections. To overcome the problems of the arrays concept, collections introduced in the Java. Are you able to understand? Yes. So we have seen three approaches. What is the first approach? To store the data. Primitive data types are available to store the data. What is the drawback here? Only one value can be stored into one variable. If I want to store 1 lakh values, 1 lakh variables, not recommended. This is not recommended. To overcome this problem, we are using arrays concept in Java. If you take a primitive data type variable, you can store only one value to the variable. To store multiple values into single variable, we are going for a concept called arrays. What is a array? Array is used to store group of values into single variable. Okay, advantage is there. What is the advantage? One variable can store multiple values. Along with the advantages, there are some disadvantages also available. What is the disadvantage? Size of the array is fixed. Based on the requirement, we cannot increase the size and we cannot decrease the size. That is the first problem. What is the second problem in the array? What is the second problem in the array? We can store only homogeneous values in the array. What is the meaning of homogeneous value? We can store only same type of value in the array. If I create a student array, I can store only student object. I cannot store the employee object, right? So how to resolve this homogeneous problem? Instead of taking a student array, can I take a object array? If I take object array, what is the advantage? If I take the object array, what is the advantage? I can store any type of data. By going with object array, I can store any type of data. Homogeneous problem resolved by using object array. But the size problem is available. We need to declare the size when you are creating the array. Today, assume that. I'm thinking that for a collections workshop, I thought that 30 people will come. I taken a room with 30 chairs. If 50 people comes, I cannot accommodate. I cannot accommodate. So I cannot increase the capacity of the room now. Assume that I'm going to start advanced Java. I'm expecting 100 people for advanced Java. I have taken a big room with 100 chairs, but only 10 people came. Then waste of my money. That means, can I guess how many people will come for my next batch? Can I guess that? I'm expecting 100. If 10 people comes, what is the problem? I have already paid rent for the owner for 6 months advance. I purchased 100 chairs. I purchased 2 projectors. I invested 10 lakh rupees, but only 10 people came. Can I ask per person to pay 1 lakh for advanced Java? No, my money is wasted. All right. That means, can we guess what is the future? Can we guess what is the future? No. Similarly, tomorrow in my project, how many objects will come? Can I guess today? No. That means guessing the size of the objects is not possible always. So if you create array with size as 100 today, if you get more than 100 tomorrow, your array cannot accommodate. Your array cannot store more than 100. That is the biggest drawback in the array. Size is fixed. And the second one, homogeneous. To resolve the homogeneous, okay, instead of going for int array, student array, I will go for object array. If I take object array, what is the advantage? Any type of value. So storing only homogeneous is a problem, or it is not a problem now? It is not a problem. We can overcome that problem by using object array, but still there are 2 problems with the arrays. What are those 2 problems? Size is fixed. Size is fixed. And insertion, updation, I want to insert data. I want to update the data. I want to retrieve data. I want to sort the data. Is there any ready-made method available in the array? Is there any ready-made method available in the array? No, not available. Okay. So here, when we talk about arrays, we need to talk about 2 problems. Size of the array is fixed. And common operations also not supported by arrays. Inserting the data. I want to insert the data in the first index. If I insert one object in the first index, what about existing object? Already there is one object in the first index. If I insert one more object in the first index, I will lose my old data. Is there any concept like if I insert in the first position, existing object will go to next position? Not available. Is there any method to sort the employees based on the salary? No. Is there any method to sort the student based on the ID? No. There is no such kind of predefined methods in the arrays concept. To overcome the problems of the arrays, we are going for collections. What is the purpose of going for collections? To overcome problems of arrays. To overcome the problems of arrays, we are going to use collections. What is the purpose of going for collections? What is the purpose of going for collections? To overcome the problems of arrays, we are going to use collections. Are you guys able to understand? Collection, collections are used to store group of objects. By using array also, we can store group of objects and group of values. Collections are also used for same purpose. Collections are used to store group of objects or group of values. Collections are growable in nature. That means if you want to store 100 values, you store it. If you want to store 200 values, store it. If you want to store 1 lakh values, store it. You no need to define size for the collection. Based on you are storing the data, collection size will increase. Okay, memory wastage will not be available. I want to store 100 values. I created 100. Tomorrow if I get 120 values, array cannot support. I created array with 100, but I got only 2 objects. 98 objects are not available. Unnecessarily memory wastage. Now, can you guess the size of the array? No. If I create 100, I cannot increase, I cannot decrease. If I have only 10 objects, 90 indexes are waste. If I have 200 objects, it is not sufficient. But if you go for collections, collections are used to store group of objects. Sir, by using array also we can store the group of objects now. By using collections also we can store group of objects now. Then why need to go for collection? What is the special advantage? What is the special advantage? What is the special advantage? Collections are growable in nature. That means collection is like a elastic. Rubber band. Ladies will use rubber band, right? What is that rubber band? Elastic. If your size is increasing, that will increase. Size is decreasing, it will decrease. Collections are like a elastic. So based on your size, it will increase. Based on the number of objects, collection size will increase. Based on the number of objects, collection size will decrease. Collections are used to store group of objects. Collections are growable in nature. Dynamically, size can be increased and decreased based on data. Collections size can be increased and collections size can be decreased based on the data. But if you go for array, size is fixed. Can I increase or can I decrease based on the data? I cannot increase, I cannot decrease based on the data. But in the collections will adjust as per the data. Collections are growable in nature. I want to store 10 values. Okay, it will take the 10 values and it will store that. I want to store 100 values. It will take the 100 values and it will store. I want to store 1000 values. I want to store 10,000 values. I want to store 1 lakh values. You can store any amount of data in the collection. Size can be increased, size can be decreased based on your data. Based on your data. What is the purpose of collections? To overcome the problems of arrays, we are going to use collections. Collections are used to store group of objects. Collections are growable in nature. Collections can store both homogeneous data as well as heterogeneous data also. I can store one int value, I can store one string value, I can store one boolean value. You can store any type of data in the collection. We can store any type of data in collection. Collections are used to store group of objects. Collections are growable in nature. Dynamically, collection size can be increased and decreased based on the data. We can store any type of data in the collection. Sir, not only int, you can store int, double, float, string, char, student object, customer object, employee object. You can store any type of object into the collection because collection is a container. Collection is like a box. Collection is like a box. Inside that box, you can store any type of data. Collections can store both homogeneous data, homogeneous and heterogeneous data. Homogeneous data and heterogeneous data also can be stored by using collections. Are you able to follow this? Collections are growable in nature. Collections can be stored any data. Homogeneous and heterogeneous data also can be stored. And another beauty, collections providing predefined methods. Collections providing predefined methods to insert, update, delete, retrieve, sort, etc. Ready-made method support is available in the collections, but in the arrays, that support is not available. When you go for arrays concept, ready-made method support is not available. Size of the array is fixed. Arrays can store only homogeneous values. To overcome the problems of the arrays, we are going for collections. Can you read this point? What is the purpose of collections? Come on. Collections are used to store group of objects. Collections are growable in nature. Based on the size of the data, collection size will be increased and collection size will be decreased. What type of data we can store in the collection? We can store any type of data in the collection. It will support to store homogeneous data and heterogeneous data. And what is the another beauty? What is the another beauty with the collections? Collections providing predefined methods to insert, update, delete, retrieve your data and sort it. I have employee objects. I want to sort the employees based on the salary. There is a ready-made method. I want to sort the student objects based on the rank. Ready-made method available. I have a phone number. I have some phone numbers. I want to sort the phone numbers. I have some names. I want to sort the names. If you want to perform any operation on the data, collections are providing ready-made methods. That means collections will follow some data structures. Collections are using some data structure in the array. That method support is not available. That's why people will prefer collections to store the data when we are developing a project. What is the main purpose of collections? What is the main purpose of collections? Collections are used to store the data. How much data I can store in the collection? How much data I can store in the collection? Any amount of data. What type of data? Any type of data. Collections are providing predefined methods to perform operations on the data. I want to insert new data. I want to update the existing data. I want to delete the data. I want to sort the data. To perform these operations on the data, programmer no need to write the logic because collections are providing the methods for you. By using those methods, you can perform some common operations on the data. Are you guys clear? Collection is like a entity. What is a collection? Collection is a entity which is used to store group of objects. Collection is an entity which is used to store group of objects. We can say collection is an entity or collection is a container which is used to store group of objects. Now, if we take a container like this, now I want to go for A collection. Collection will represent like a container. Let us see here. This is one container. If I create this container as a collection, now I'm going to create it as employees. The name of the collection I'm taking as a employees. Now employee object 1, employee object 2, object 3, object 4, object 5, 6, 7, 8. You can store any number of objects in the collection. That collection is called as a container. Collection is called as a entity. Collections are growable in nature. You can store any type of data. You can store any amount of data, and you are having ready-made methods to perform the operation. You are having ready-made methods to perform the operation. These advantages are available in the arrays. These advantages not available in the arrays. These advantages are not available in the arrays. Array will provide you memory location. Just you can store multiple values into single variable. Size is fixed, homogeneous values, and for every requirement, we need to write our own logic. For every requirement, we need to write our own logic. But if you go for collection, that is not required. Collections are growable. We can store any type of data, and ready-made method support is available. All right. Now, sir, here in the Java, as of now, we learned several topics, like we discussed about multi-threading. We discussed about inner classes. We discussed about exception handling. Now we are talking about collections, but we are talking these collections as a, we are calling these collections as a collections framework. We are calling these collections as a collections framework. Sir, why this, it is not called as a multi-threading framework? Why it is not called as a exception handling framework? Why it is not called as a inner classes framework? Why only we are calling collections as a collections framework? Why? What is the reason? Why it is called as a collections framework? Why we are not calling multi-threading framework? Why we are not calling inner classes framework? Any idea? Any idea? Any idea, guys? What is the advantage? What is the advantage? Wow. Today's class, 699 people in the online, YouTube 100 people. Good response. These many people are waiting for collections, huh? I don't know. Good. Fine, guys. Why we are calling this collections as a collections framework? Now let's understand. Framework means ready-made software. What is that, guys? Framework means ready-made software. Suppose, for example, if I want to prepare a biryani, then what I need to do? I need to purchase rice. I need to purchase chicken. I need to purchase spices. I need to purchase some spices and all those things. And if I purchase all these things, biryani will be ready? No. Then what I need to do? I need to cook, right? I need to take rice. I need to keep them in the water. And I need to take masalas, spices. I need to prepare chicken separately. I need to prepare rice separately. After 75% cooking, I need to combine them. Then only biryani will be ready. Lot of effort is there. Yes or no? Lot of effort is there. Suppose I want to prepare Maggi. How much time it will take to prepare a Maggi? Just to open the packet, keep in the bowl, keep some water, switch on, 2 minutes aisa karo, ready. Right. So what is the meaning of that? Maggi, can I call it as a ready-made food? Is it easy to prepare the Maggi? Why it becoming easy to prepare the Maggi? Already they prepared everything. They kept in the cover. You just give the final touch and Maggi will be ready to eat. But for biryani, we have to prepare everything. It will take a lot of time. Maggi is a framework. Maggi is a framework. What is the meaning of a framework? Ready-made software. Maggi is ready-made. Just you take it, You give the finishing touch, then Maggie will be ready to eat. But biryani is not like that. You need to keep lot of effort to prepare the biryani. Similarly, in the collections, everything is already available. Collection is a framework. Why we are calling collection is a framework? In the collection, already so many classes available, so many methods available to perform the operations on the data. If you want to insert the data, there is a method. If you want to retrieve the data, there is a method. If you want to delete the data, there is a method. If you want to sort the data, there is a method. In the collections, there are so many predefined classes available, predefined methods available to store the object, to update the object, to delete the object, to retrieve the object, to sort the object. If you want to perform any operation on the data, you no need to spend much time. Just to see what is the method, what operation it will do, call the method, then task will be completed. That's why collections is called as a framework. Why we are not calling multi-threading as a framework? No, we need to create the thread object. We need to override the run method. We need to call the start method. Lot of things we need to do manually. But executors framework is available. Did we discuss executor framework? Executor service. Executor service is called as the executor framework. Why it is called executor framework? Executor dot new fixed thread pool, 10 threads will be created. Executor service dot submit, task will be submitted. Ready-made methods available. That is called executor framework. In the exception handling, do we have a framework? In the exception handling, no. Some classes are there. We need to extend the properties, write the try block, write the catch block, then write the finally block. Lot of stuff we need to do manually when you go for exception handling. But if you go for collections, ready-made classes available, ready-made interfaces available, ready-made methods available. What is the advantage? What is the advantage with the ready-made software? Programmer's life will become easy. What is the main advantage of the ready-made methods? Programmer's life will become easy. If I give you 1,000 objects to sort the data, how to sort the data? N number of questions. If you go for collection, sort method. If you go for collection, sort method, it will sort the objects. Ready-made methods available in the collections. That's why collections is called as a framework. Why we are calling collection as a framework? Ready-made software, ready-made methods available in the collection. Got it? Collection is called as framework. Collections is called as framework because it is providing predefined classes, predefined interfaces, classes, and methods to perform operations on data. We are calling collections as a framework. Why we are calling collections as a framework? It is providing predefined classes, predefined interfaces, predefined methods to perform operations on the data. What is the advantage for us? What is the advantage for us? Our productivity will be improved. We can do more work in the less time. And we no need to spend a lot of time to write the logic. If you write the logic, sometimes may work, sometimes may not work. There is a chance of getting the problem. If you go for logic given by Sun Microsystem, it is already tested, it is already proven, no problems will come. It will work perfectly. Able to follow this? So that's why collections is called as a framework, because in the collections concept, there are some interfaces, there are some classes, there are some methods which will perform the operation on the data directly. Our life will become simple if you use a concept called collections. Now, if I go for array, if I go for a concept called array concept, simple example, I will give you my mobile number like this. Can you do the sorting? Array Baba, if I give you an array, can you sort this? Is there any method in the array to sort it? No. Then what you need to do? That is also a collection. Arrays also is a collection in the util package. Right. Now, if I give the array like this, if I want you write the logic to sort the number ascending order, how much time it will take for you? At least some logic you need to write now. But if you go for collections, there is a concept called collections dot sort of number kam katham. You don't need to do anything. Why? Why we don't need to do anything? Because there is a predefined method available in the collection. Suppose if I don't use a collection, then we need to write 10 lines of code. 5 to 6 lines minimum we need to write to sort the array programmatically. It will take a lot of time. And in this class, 60-70 people are there offline. If 60 people write the logic, is there any guarantee everybody will write the correct logic to sort? Some people may do some mistake. Instead of writing that logic on our own, if I call this, our task will be completed or not. Within less time, our task is completed. That is the beauty of going for collections. Collections are used to store group of objects. Collections are growable in nature. Collection can store any type of object. Collection can store homogeneous data as well as heterogeneous data. Apart from that, what is the biggest advantage of collection? Ready-made methods are available. Collection is called as a framework. Why we are calling collections as a framework? Why we are calling collections as a framework? Ready-made methods available in the collection to perform the operations, inserting, updating, retrieving, sorting, deleting. If you want to perform some operations on the data, there are ready-made methods available in the collections. Are you guys clear? Now, so as of now, we understood why we need to go for collections. Can you tell me why we need to go for collections? To overcome the problems of the arrays. To overcome the problems of the arrays. Now, what is the collection framework? Some set of classes available, some set of interfaces available, some set of methods available to perform operations on the data. Now let us see here, primitive data types. Let's revise that. Primitive data types. What is the purpose of primitive data types? Primitive data types are used to store single value to a variable. Into x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20, z is equal to 30. If I want to store 1000 values, then we need to declare 1000 variables. Is it recommended or it is not recommended? Not recommended. To overcome the problem with the primitive data type, what we are going for? Arrays. What is array? Array is a reference to data type. By using arrays, we can store group of values into single variable. Into array is equal to new int of 5. I can store 5 values into single variable. But what is the problem? Array size is fixed. What is the another problem? I created int array. I can store only int value. And size of the array is only 5. I can store only 5 values. I can store only int values. How to overcome this problem? By using object array. What is object? What is object? Object class is the default superclass for all the Java classes. If we create object array, what is the advantage? Any type of data. We can store any type of data. But what is the problem here? Size is still problem. I can store customer object. I can store student object. I can store employee object. But what is the problem? Size is fixed. Size is fixed here. What is another problem? What is another problem? Inserting, updating, retrieving, sorting. Is there any method available? Is there any method available in the object class to sort the data? No. As a programmer, we need to write our own logic to sort the data. To overcome this problem, what we are going for? Collections. We are going for collection. The main reason of going for collections is to overcome the problems of the arrays. Got my point? Good. Next up, what is a collection? What is a collection? Collection is an entity, or we can call collection as a container. Collection is an entity which is used to store group of objects. How many objects I can store in the collections? Any number, multiple. Can I say collections are growable in nature? Yes, collections are growable in nature. Collection is an entity which is used to store group of objects. Collections are growable in nature. And what is the another advantage? What is the another advantage with the collection? We can store any type of value or we can store any type of object in the collection, but in the array only homogeneous. In the collection, homogeneous plus heterogeneous values also we can store. And collection framework, it is called as a framework. Why it is called as a framework? In the collections framework, ready-made classes, ready-made methods are available. Sir, if classes available, if methods available, what is advantage for us? What is advantage for us? If you want to perform some operations, you no need to apply your brain. You just call the method will perform the operation. They already implemented the logic for common operations on the objects. You may want to insert a new object. You may want to delete the existing object. You may want to retrieve the object. You may want to sort the object. For all these things, ready-made methods available in the collection. Collection framework providing ready-made methods to perform common operations like inserting, deleting, retrieving, and sorting. With this, we understood 2 points. Why we need to go for collections? Why we need to go for collections? And what is collection framework? With this, we understood 2 points, guys. 1 hour, 2 points. What is collection? Why we need to go for collection? Okay. Next one, we need to talk about collection hierarchy. We need to talk about collection hierarchy. When we are talking about collection hierarchy, we need to talk about collection. We need to talk about collection, and we need to talk about list, and we need to talk about set, and we need to talk about map. Sorry, here there is a queue. There is a queue, and we have a map. When we are talking about collection, we need to talk about these all are interfaces. Collection interface, then list interface, then set interface, then queue interface is available, then map interface is available. For all these interfaces, there is a super interface called iterable. Stack is a class, right? I'm talking about collections hierarchy with respect to interfaces. What is the super interface for all the collections? Iterable. Iterable is available. Map is a separate, guys. Iterable, collection, list, set, queue. These are one family. Iterable, collection, list, set, queue. These are one family. Map is a another family. Map is a another family. Now let's understand collections hierarchy. Let's understand collections hierarchy. All of you, yeah. What is top? Red color is nothing but a interface. Green color is nothing but a class. This is a collection hierarchy. Iterable is the topmost interface. Collection is extending from iterable. List, set, queue available. List, set to queue are the child interfaces of the collection. Collection is the child interface of the iterable. Okay. Just observe the diagram for 2 minutes. What is the topmost interface here, guys? What is the topmost interface? Iterable. Which interface extending the properties from iterable? Collection. Which interfaces are extending from collection? List, queue, and set is available. List available, queue available, set available. These are child interfaces of the collection. Collection is the child interface of the iterable. This is the final summary. Map is a separate. Map is a separate. Iterable, collection. From the collection, list, queue, DQ, set available. From the map, there is a separate. Map is a separate concept. Map is not part of the collection interface. Map is not part of the collection interface. This is collection framework hierarchy. Now, in this framework, set of interfaces available, set of classes available. As a programmer, we need to understand when to go for which class to store our data. That is called understanding the collections framework. How internally they are working. Okay, in which scenario we need to go for which class, that we need to discuss for next 1 week. Understood? Yep. Collections framework hierarchy. See this. Guys, here red color boxes are representing interfaces, green color boxes are representing classes. Few classes are implementing interfaces, few interfaces are extending from other interfaces. So you need to have the knowledge on interface, inheritance, then only you will understand the diagram. Okay, fine. We'll understand that slowly. Don't get confused, sir. इसको कैसे याद रखना? Dotted versus dark line. In the diagram, dark line means implement. Dark line means extending. Dotted line means implementing. Got it? Here, directly, if you have a dotted line, straight arrow mark, that means it is extending. If you are having dotted line, that means implementing. Okay? Yeah. For notes, please join in this WhatsApp group, guys. Online people, join in this WhatsApp group so that we will get the class notes. Okay? Huh. Join in that WhatsApp group to get the class notes. Material I will provide for these collections. 40 pages material is prepared. I will share that material. Okay, fine guys. Good. Now let's see here. In the collection, mainly we need to talk about 4 interfaces, guys. Mainly we need to talk about 4 interfaces in the collection. One is list. One is list. Second one is set. Third one is queue. And fourth one is map. Okay, we need to understand list, set, queue, and map concept. Now, list, it is a interface. All these 4 are interfaces only. But these 3 belongs to one family. This is a second family member. Now, first let us see what is the list. List, it is used to store group of objects. List is used to store group of objects. Now, set is also used to store group of objects. Queue is also used to store group of objects. Map is also used to store group of objects. List is there, set is there, queue is there, map is there. All are used to store group of objects. Then what is the difference? When you go for list collection, duplicates are allowed. You can store duplicate data in the list object. When you go for a list, you can store group of objects, homogeneous objects, heterogeneous objects also you can store. But what is the here? Duplicates are allowed. When you go for set, here also you can store group of objects, but here duplicates are not allowed. In the list, you can store duplicate objects, but in the set, duplicate objects are not allowed. When you go for queue, here FIFO, here FIFO, queue first in first out. If you store the data in the queue, you will get the first in first out. If you want to maintain the data in the queue order, then you need to go for a queue interface. If you go for map, if you go for a map, data will be stored in the form of key value pair. Key value pair. Every collection having a different purpose. Every collection having a different purpose. Based on our requirement, we need to understand which collection we need to use in which scenario and how that collection working internally, that also we need to understand. Okay guys, now which collection we need to use in which scenario, that is for our project. How the collection is working internally, that is for interview. When you go for interview, they will ask a question, how list will work internally. Now if you go for list interface, there are several implementation. Array list available, linked list available, vector available, stack available. Array list, linked list, vector, stack, 4 classes are implementing list interface only. Then what is the difference between array list and linked list? How they will store the data internally? All are used to store group of objects. Array list, linked list, vector, stack, implementing list interface. That means duplicates are allowed. When the duplicates are allowed, only one class is sufficient. Na? Why 4 classes available? Why array list, linked list, vector, stack, 4 classes are there? What is the difference? How they will work internally? That we need to learn. Got it? Now, when to go for a list object? If you want to store group of objects where duplicates are allowed, then you need to go for list. When you need to go for set, I want to store group of objects, but I don't want to store the duplicates, then I will go for set. When I need to go for queue, if I want to store the data in the FIFO order, then I will go for queue. When I will go for map concept, if I want to store the data in the form of key value, then we will go for map concept. Are you guys clear with this one? Yes. This is called as collections hierarchy. This is called collections hierarchy. Now let's talk about these interfaces now. List, set, queue, map. All these are interfaces in the collection framework, right? List is used to store group of objects where duplicates are allowed. Set is used to store group of objects where duplicates are not allowed. Queue is an interface which is used to store group of objects in the FIFO order. Map is there. Map is used to store group of objects in the form of key value. So in the project, if I want to store the data in the form of key value, then I need to go for map concept. If I want to store duplicate objects, then I need to go for list object. If I want to store only unique objects, then I need to go for set object. If I want to store the data in the FIFO order, then I need to go for queue concept. Are you able to follow me? Now, good. List. Let's take list interface. What is this list interface? It is child interface of collection interface. What is list interface, guys? It is child interface of collection interface. List interface. Can I create object for the interface? Can I create object for the interface? No. List interface having list interface having 4 implementation classes. List interface having 4 implementation classes. What are those? First one is a array list. Second one is linked list. Third one is vector. Fourth one is stack. How many implementation classes available for the list interface now? 4 implementation classes available for the list interface. What are those 4? What are those 4? Array list available, linked list available, vector is available, stack available. Now, here guys, can I create a object like this? Array list AL is equal to new array list. Yes or no? What is a array list? Class. Now, can I create list to L is equal to new list? Is it valid or invalid? Invalid. Why? List is a interface. Invalid because we cannot create obj for interface. We cannot create the object for the interface. Is this valid or it is not valid? It is valid. Why it is valid? It is a class. We can create the object for a class. Can I create object like this? List L is equal to new array list. Is it valid or invalid? This is also valid. Why? Here I am directly creating object for the list interface. You are saying that it is invalid. Why? Invalid because we cannot create object for the interface. Here I am creating object for a class directly. Array list AL is equal to new array list. It is valid. When I go for list L is equal to new array list, is it valid or it is invalid? It is valid. Why? Interface reference variable can hold implementation object. Interface reference variable can hold implementation object. Now, when I go for this array list, there are some methods available. In the array list class, there are some methods available. Add method available, set method available, remove method available, contains method is available, contains method is available. Like that, there are several methods available in the array list class. Several methods available in the array list class. Now, let me write one simple program for today. Only theory discussion. Na? One simple program we will write and stop it. We'll continue in the tomorrow class. Okay. Huh? What happened? Sleeping, huh? Okay, fine guys. Let us take this program. Here I'm having a demo class. Here I'm having a demo class. Now, in this class, I want to create the object for array list, guys. I want to create the object for the array list. Okay. Array list AL is equal to new array list. Array list AL is equal to new array list. Array list is a predefined class in the collections framework. Array list class is implementing which interface, guys? Array list class is implementing which interface? It is implementing list. Is it implementing only list? Look at the array list class. Array list is implementing list interface, implementing random access, implementing a clonable, implementing serializable, serial version UID. What is the default capacity of the array list? 10. What is the default size of the array list? 10. How many values we can store in the array list? How many values we can store in the array list? Any number. But what they are telling as a default capacity? 10. The default capacity of the array list is a 10. When you store 10 values in the array list, automatically it will increase the size. That is nothing but growable in nature. Initially, whenever you create the array list class, the default capacity will be 10, right? Now, let's store some data. Array list dot add method. I want to store some value 100. Okay. Al dot add of 200. Al dot add of Raju. Okay. Al dot add of some Rani. Some Rani. Then Al dot add of some 1000.50. What type of data I am storing? Am I storing only into values? I'm storing into data. I'm storing string data. I'm storing double data. I'm storing double data. Now, AL dot, there are several methods available. There are several methods available in order to print this data. Okay, guys, in order to perform the operations, there are several methods available. Now, by using for each loop, can I get this data? By using for each loop, by using for loop, and in the array list, there are several methods available directly. Al dot iterator dot, there are several methods available in the array list. Now see what I am doing in the array list class. I'm storing objects. How many objects I have stored? 5. How many objects we can store? How many objects we can store? Any number of objects we can store in the array list. We'll talk more about the array list class in the tomorrow session. What is array list class? How it is working internally? What are the methods available in the array list class? That we can discuss. Now, I'm able to create the object for the array list. Array list is nothing but a container. We can store group of objects. You can store any number of objects. You can store any type of objects in the array list. Now, how to print the data from the array list? You can use for loop. You can use for each loop. You can use that methods are available, and you can use iterator, and you can use list iterator. There are several ways available to print the data from the collection. I have a collection. In that collection, I have stored the data. You can print the data from the collection in several ways. Okay, first, let me check what is the size of the array list. Al dot size. What is the method I am calling, guys? I'm calling a method called size method. What is the purpose of size method? It will tell me how many objects are available in the collection. How many objects are available in the collection? There are 5 objects available. How to know the size of the collection? By using a method called size method. By using a method called size method. Now, here al dot add method, al dot remove method is available. Al dot remove method, I'm giving remove of 0th index. I want to remove the 0th index value. System dot out dot println size plus al dot size. Size before removal. Size before removal. Size after removal. Size before removal. Size after removal. Print it. Before removal it is 5. After removal it is 5. Now 4. Before removal it is 5. After removal it is 4. How I am removing one object from the array list? How I am removing the object from the array list? By using remove method. I want to print this object system.out.println of al. Now let's run this program. Is it printing the data? Now after removal also I want to print the data. Before removal I want to print the array list size. After removal I want to print the array list, and I want to print the array list also. Right, execute this. Now can you see 5 values are printed, and here only 4 values are printed. Which value removed? 100, 0th index value. Array list will store the data based on the indexes only. Array list will internally use the array concept only. That we will understand in the tomorrow's class. Are you guys clear with this program? Array list AL is equal to new array list. What is the meaning of this? Object creation. What is the default capacity? What is the default capacity of the array list? Default capacity is 10. That means you can store 10 values. Sir, collection means growable in nature, na? Then why only 10? Java people don't know how many objects you will store in the array list. They are creating array list with the default capacity as a 10. If you store 10 values, then that array list size will be increased. Size will be increased by 10 values. If you store 20 objects, then it will increase another 10 capacity. So array list will internally uses arrays only in the backend. Okay, how it is working internally we'll talk about later. Look at this. I'm able to create the object for array list. Object creation, default capacity 10. I'm storing some data. These are called as objects. Am I storing homogeneous data? I'm storing heterogeneous data. Heterogeneous data. Some values are int values, some values are string values, some values are decimal value. You can store any type of data, you can store any amount of data in the collection. And there are ready-made methods available to insert the data, to delete the data, to retrieve the data. You no need to write much logic. You just need to find out which collection is required for your requirement. Just to use the collection, perform the operation. That's it. Good. Fine. So how many interfaces we need to learn mainly? 4. What are those 4? List, set, queue, map. When to go for list interface? If you want to store group of objects where duplicates are allowed, then we need to go for list. When to go for set? It is used to store group of objects where duplicates are not allowed. When to go for queue? Group of objects in the FIFO order. When to go for map? To store group of objects where key value pair. If you want to represent the data in the key value pair, then we need to go for a concept called map concept. Clear? In the list, there are several implementation classes. Array list, linked list, vector, stack. When you go for queue, priority queue is available. When you go for set, hash set, linked hash set, tree set will be available. Okay. When you go for map, map is the interface. Map and collection interface no relation. Map is a separate interface which is used to store the data in the form of key value. Map interface having implementation classes, hash table, hash map, tree map. Like that, there are several implementation classes are available. List interface. When you go for the list interface, there is a class called array list, and there is a class called linked list. There is a class called vector, and there is a class called stack. Okay, this is list interface implementation classes. When you go for set interface, what is available? Hash set is available. Hash set is available. Linked hash set is available. And we have the tree set also. Tree set also. Queue. When you go for queue, there is a concept called priority queue is available. TQ is also available as an interface. When you go for a map, what map is available? Hash map is available, and linked hash map is available, and we have hash table available. Hash table is available, and we have tree map. We have identity hash map. We have identity hash map available, and we have weak hash map also. Weak hash map, not weak, W-A-K. Yeah, weak hash map is also available. These are the implementation classes for the map interface. Priority queue is the implementation for queue interface. Hash set, linked hash set to tree set are the implementation for set interface. Array list, linked list, vector, stack are called implementation classes for list interface. Now we need to discuss about all these interfaces and classes. Got it? Yep. Along with this, we are having a concept called cursors. Cursors are used to iterate the data from the collection. Cursors are used to iterate the data from the collection. We have three types of cursors. One is iterator, second one is list iterator, third one is enumeration. How many types of cursors we have? There are three types of cursors are available. What are those three types of cursors? Iterator, list iterator, and enumeration. Now we need to understand all these interfaces and implementation classes and these cursors. Got it? Fine, guys. Thank you. With this, I'm stopping for today. We'll continue in the tomorrow class. Tomorrow also at 5:30. Tomorrow we will work on array list class and linked list class. Thank you, guys. Good. Online people, please join in that WhatsApp group. You will get the notes, that material you will get in the WhatsApp group, guys. Please join in that group. I'm sending in the chat box. WhatsApp group link I have sent in the chat box. Please join in that. People watching from YouTube, please subscribe to this channel and click on bell icon. You will get more updates. Thank you, guys.